welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. This is your host. If you don't know, now you already know, the most charismatic man in entertainment, Kevin Hart. If you're listening, tell Dwayne The Rock Johnson he's being replaced. But I hope everybody's having a great day, great week so far. It's early in the morning, 9 a.m. And, I got something to say before I bring on my guests. Another thing. It's been coming to my attention. Tom Holland, Samuel Jackson, even Denzel Washington hit me up like, hey, I'm a big fan of the podcast. Where can I watch the videos? Well, no need to fear because the answer's here. So, I've been starting to do video podcasts because I know a lot of people like them. And so, courtesy of podcasts as a Spotify, this video is also on Spotify. So if you want to watch video episodes, it's going to be on YouTube and Spotify, audio everywhere else you get your podcast. Another thing, I mentioned it before, but so my episode with Jubilee Media is coming out July 28th. By the time you listen to this, it'll be out. It's called Ranked Alpha Males. Check them out. It's my 5th episode with them. And also, shout out to Voyage LA Magazine for their amazing interview, Hidden Gem series of me. It's on my website, Instagram, all that good stuff. And before I bring on my guests, I also want to mention one quick thing, too. I mentioned it one time, but I just want to bring it up again. The podcast is up on IMDb. You can search it on Google. You can go on my Instagram, whatever the case may be. If you have a chance, thank you everybody for being a fan, a supporter. Even if you hate my voice, you hate the podcast, just go over there, leave a review. It helps, and it's a great way for me to show the world what they're missing. I want more people to join our journey in this podcast. So without further ado, I should say, I want to bring on my next guest, amazing guy. I got to record with him last week, and we had a lot of great conversations during that time and off camera before this. And, he has his own podcast, X's and O's of Life. And, it's an amazing podcast that he do with his longtime buddy. And it's kind of like a Rush Hour thing. You got the black guy and the white guy teaming up together, Batman and Robin, a little cop and buddy action thing going on. And it's a very well done podcast. It's really it's like a personal journey podcast, talking a lot of life experiences, perspective, interviews with people with different walks of life. Overall, great human being coming all the way from Pennsylvania. Please welcome. He may not be Bill Gates, but he is rich. Rich Dow, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, thank you. And I don't know what podcast you were listening to because it doesn't sound anything like my terrible excuse for a podcast, but hey, I appreciate it.
I was trying to hook you up, man.
Oh, look, you hype me up. Now I'm over here believing my own thing, and I'm like, all right, I gotta step my game up now, so I seem like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
But no, man, I appreciate you bringing me on. Definitely exciting to be on the other side of it.
So. Oh yeah, most definitely. It's always we were saying off camera. I enjoy doing the other side, but it's also nice to sometimes, because sometimes for me it's nice to also steer the conversation. Some people can't do that. Like, I feel like sometimes when I'm a guest, I'm steering the conversation, which is not bad, but this is me though. I'm the most charismatic man. Nobody do it like me. So which leads me to the next point. Arnold Schwarzenegger called me a couple days ago. I was, doing a little workout, trying to get in shape, Hot Body 2023. And he says, hey, Percy, I saw you tag me in this Instagram reel. I love the fitness journey. How can I be like you? And I told him, I said, hey, man, I'm the most charismatic man. Why even ask such a silly question? I mean, there's no comparison. I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. But, he is a great guy, though. Nonetheless, let's get to the episode. Let me stop rambling over here. So Rich,
I get you're nervous because I'm in the room. I understand.
Yeah, got an alpha male in the presence. What am I doing here? I'm struggling.
I'll carry you. Don't worry, I got you.
Well, I'm 6'4", 270 pounds. That's a lot of carrying to do.
Oh yeah, no. I will get a wagon.
A wagon.
We will do that.
Are you fat shaming me?
No, I'm just. I mean, sorry, we're losing connection. What now? Going through a tunnel and I'm underwater.
The FBI.
You don't look at you honestly. You don't look at like. I wouldn't even. That would not have been my. I mean, I wouldn't say you're a pound over three bills. So yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I'm tall and most of it is muscle, and I don't know. It's weird because a lot of people always think I'm like 225, 230, and it's like, well, right now I'm cutting down because from January to April, I was eating like crap. I was buying bags of Reese's cups, and so I'm in better shape than I was a couple months ago. But so
you definitely hold it well, man. So good for you.
I'm trying, man. You know, Dwayne Rock Johnson, and I'm trying to take his position, so I got to come correct. You know, so
either that or you're a back alley fighter, one of the two.
I do MMA. It's funny. My LA agent, he does jiu-jitsu and he trains with a couple fighters. Yeah? I know Jalen Turner. He's rolled with him a couple times. He still trains with him once in a while. But yeah, I love UFC, MMA, kickboxing.
My kid's getting into that actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's just putting his little peep into everything anymore. So I'm like, hey, look, find a niche and make daddy some money. That's kind of where I'm.
I mean,
find your lane and do something for me.
Does he want to do like MMA, or is he just like more of a fan?
So he goes to the gym and he does some Muay Thai stuff. It's like a weekly, not a weekly. It's like a 3 or 4 times a week type of thing. So it's one of those things where he's a kid and he's latching onto it and he's just latched onto it. Right. So we'll see. But he did the same thing with guitars and music, and he's been doing that for 4 years now too. So who knows? He's going to be a musical MMA guy. Who knows?
Hey, you know what? You get those type of opportunities to be on TV, you could make it work. You know,
yep.
You know. So I've thought about it. Someone actually asked me, one of my old neighbors back in LA, he was like, you know, because during the pandemic, I used to practice my moves on the balcony of my apartment, and I guess people used to notice. Obviously, right. I'm a big guy, so it's kind of not easy to miss me. But I've been asked if I've ever decided to do it. I'm not against doing it, but to be honest, if I was to do it, I would only do it for the exposure and money. I wouldn't do it because I want to go in there and fight somebody. I just,
right.
You know, I like sparring though. I like sparring. I love learning new things. John Jones is my favorite fighter, so you know, I'm always Muay Thai is a great.
I've always been a fan of Rampage.
I like Rampage. You know, Rampage. He's I think for him at his peak, I think he was phenomenal. But I think the sport evolved to the point where, like when I watched him versus John Jones, it was a clear generation gap going on where, you know, his type of style works if he's only fighting somebody who prefers to fight like that. If he's fighting an MMA guy, unless he knocks him out, I mean, it's. And I say that with all due respect. I love Rampage, but John Jones, Anderson Silva, Cyril Gane, Israel Adesanya, you know, Cain Velasquez. These were all guys. Daniel Cormier were guys that, you know, they were true martial artists. I mean, they could punch you, kick you in the head, take you down, submit you. That's what it's really an art form. I'm glad that your son is doing it, and I see a lot of like there was an 18-year-old kid that just signed not too long ago with the UFC. He's had I think 2 fights. It's evolving. A lot of kids are getting into it, and I kind of like it because I think everybody should learn self-defense. You know, right. Just it's great practice. It's great studying, and it's discipline. You know, but you know, exactly. Not everybody needs to be a cage fighter, but. You know, enough of the UFC talk. I don't want to have to choke somebody out on the kind of choke. So let's get into you. You know, where did your journey start with the X's and O's? How did you even? Because it is a cool name that stands out. How did you come up with the X's and O's of life, and how has that journey been for you?
So, probably about a year ago, I was talking about co-host Jermaine. And we just kind of threw it around a lot. We're like, look, we have these really interesting conversations. We have these really kind of in-depth, goofy, weird perspective things. I kind of feel from a pretentious standpoint, other people may want to hear it. I don't know. And it kind of just stemmed from that. We eventually were just like, you know what, let's just do it. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's no reason to not jump in bed with it. So so, like, once we made the decision that we were going to pull the trigger, like a week and a half ago, or a week and a half into it, we were recording. So there wasn't much lead in. It was more of, we've wasted enough time, thinking about it. Let's just do it. So we just sat down on the couch and did what you would think might be a bar talk podcast, and it was horrible and filled with, where's the pause button? Oh God, what do you do? And it was just very cringy, but we eventually evolved it into a formatted kind of thing where we do a topic. Depending on how long it is, we may do 2, and then we do a draft. The draft has been the mainstay of the podcast from the get-go. So what I mean by draft is, this is a little dark. Last episode we did, the draft was the worst ways to die. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sure. It definitely was, and I did not think it was going to have the legs it did. But they're not all dark like that. We've done a battle royal kind of 4th of July picnic where you had to come up with your best picnic. You had you had 2 sides, a dessert, and a main course, and it's kind of like, all right, well, who would win out of this? So it kind of takes off the idea of fantasy football drafts, because I run my own fantasy league. He's in my league and been doing fantasy for many years. And not going to lie to you, there is a fantasy football podcast I listen to. They also have a little side deal. It's called the Spitballers, and they do drafts on there. And I absolutely stole their idea, and I'm okay with it because I've always appreciated it.
Oh yeah. I just want to clear, just in case the FBI listening, want to.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's cool. The draft thing, because it's different, and you're taking stuff that is either ordinary conversations or some topics that people kind of talk about but don't really talk about often. You make it put a fun spin to it, which I think is cool. And it's weird because I've had my moments where I've researched, the 10 worst ways to die. Trust, I don't know why. I watch a lot of true crime stuff.
Look, we like car crashes. It's what we do. I completely get it.
What was like the top 3? Well,
look, I'll blow the load. I don't care. We didn't do it in necessarily sequential order. It was more like the first things that kind of popped to our heads. My number 1 was getting mauled or eaten alive by an animal. Because that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a very quick. It could be, if you have any cats, what cats do, like to play with their food. No, I kind of feel like big cats are a little the same way, but not as playful. But you don't necessarily bleed out immediately. Like, you could very well get mauled and say, yeah, see you in 8 hours, man. Oh God. My number 2, and this is a different take. Number 2 was alone. Dying alone.
You know what? I can see that. That. Interesting.
Because it could be a cat. It could be a bevy of different things. But you think about your last moments on Earth. I don't care if you're a spiritual person or not. If you're married, that doesn't matter. The most scared and the most vulnerable you're ever going to be is in your last dying breath. And do you want to do that alone? Not me, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that just because TMZ is always following me. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Jesus. That's actually interesting, because most people wouldn't think about. See, when we think about worst ways, we think about the most extreme, burning up, drowning, all this stuff. It's actually pretty fascinating to hear that being in a fire, even though it's probably one of the most excruciating pains you'll feel, But ultimately, I didn't realize the carbon monoxide would just knock you out. So you just, I don't know. It's weird, and then sometimes it's weird too to think that you go to sleep and you never wake up. You're just stuck in the dream mode all day, and it's
That
weird.
wouldn't be bad. I mean, that's just kind of like you don't know that you died, which I guess has its own mental kind of gymnastics, but you're dead, so who cares? Type of thing. But yeah.
See, we can talk about this all day. I know people.
Yeah,
are
this is
probably
going to
in the
become
car
like
also.
someone needs to use BetterHelp kind of moments here. So let's stop talking about death.
Right. Let's get past. Don't collect.
My other drafts are much happier. Just that was a weird little. Hey, here's a shower thought.
Yeah, let's get past and don't collect and go. But I do want to ask you about something. It kind of ties into what you're doing. I know we was talking a little bit about your life and some of the things you've been going through. One of them is being having diabetes, living with diabetes. So how just a little bit, because I'm not 100% sure how that how that started, how that's gone for you. How has life been for you? Because I know you're married, you have kids. How has life been when you found out about it, and how has it been living with it and managing it? And does it ever bring you down? All that type of good stuff.
So, okay. So I'll start at the beginning and I'll make the long story short. How I found out is I had some kind of like tingling in my feet and I couldn't sleep that well. I'm like, man, what is this? Like, why can't I? And being a dude, you're not going to the doctor right away. You're like, if it works and it's not falling off, it'll be fine. It'll work itself out. Luckily, through my job, we have a kind of a doctor on demand. So it's kind of like a Zoom meeting with the job. And this is before COVID. And I was like, all right, well, here, let me just kind of run this by this dude, see what he has to say. It's a free service. Okay, whatever. Close enough to go into the doctor for me. And he ordered blood tests, and he didn't really say anything about it. He's like, I don't really know, yada, yada, yada. 2 days later, I'm taking a shower, ready to go to work at 6 a.m. This dude calls me. He's like, go to the hospital right now. I'm like, can I put pants on first? Like, is that cool, or should I just kind of just go swinging? I don't know. And he's like, you have diabetes, and I'm like, okay, but I'm not sure why you have me going to the doctor though. Like, why am I going to the hospital too? Like, I'm okay. And my blood sugars were outrageous. My triglycerides were outrageous, which is basically like your cholesterol. I mean, I was like damn near ready to have a stroke. Like, that's kind of where I was at. Wow. And it was unbeknownst to me because I wasn't necessarily eating terrible, but I also wasn't making the best choices either. So then they got me medicated and all that. And, my initial stuff, you think about your mortality. There's the death thing again. See what you did? Jesus. You're thinking about your mortality. And I got real sad. I'm like, yeah, boys, look, I may not be around very long. Because the kicker is the wife's a nurse. And she's done dialysis stuff. So she kind of knows all that. And for whatever reason, I went real low. And started worrying about mortality. Then I changed up things. And I got really, really cognizant about what I was eating. And I would not allow myself to have anything. You can't do that with diabetes. You can't completely cut yourself off from everything because you are going to live a miserable life. Right. It's been 4 or 5 years now. Was never a heavy dude by any stretch. Just unlucky, whatever. It's a bit of an ebb and flow for me. There are times where I'm very conscientious of it and take care of myself and do all that. And there's other times where I'm like, Cookie looks fire though. Yeah. And sometimes make bad decisions, but it's all kind of about moderation. Now, the wife has been super great about it. Goes to Whole Foods a lot because we're now pretentious Whole Foods people. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, no.
Not a sponsor, but pay me. She gets a lot of things that are more health conscious. So there's like these plant-based chocolate chip cookies that are fire. And I don't understand where the plant-based thing comes in. I don't care. It's like you eat a hot dog. I don't want to know what's in it. It's fine. Leave it be. But it kind of sustains that I need to eat something that I shouldn't be eating, but it's okay to eat type of thing. So you're just kind of playing mental gymnastics. And I've always told people diabetes is more of a mental disorder or a mental disease than a physical kind of disease, because you have to, the physical stuff is going to happen regardless. I'm going to die from this. I'm well aware of that. It is what it is. It's fine. Donate to my Patreon though, please.
Only very
well, yeah. I mean, well, look, that's that diabetes 3 that we're going to talk about. That's that OnlyFans foot content. Oh, actually, funny enough, about feet. My feet are super dry, man. Super dry, and I got Jesus lizard feet, and it's from that. Like, there are so many weird physical things that happen to you, but it really comes down to the mental thing. You need to keep yourself strong and okay, and not too high, not too low. Live your life, just make smarter decisions. Like, realistically, living with diabetes is just eating better and taking care of yourself. Like, that's kind of what we all should be doing anyway, but you're kind of forced into it because you're kind of shortening your life if you don't. So that's the short version of that long story.
You know, one thing you mentioned was, you know, you felt fine and, you know, you never been a heavy dude. We was talking about this a little bit off camera. Like, it's one of those things that, and I've had this conversation with a couple of different people who, you know, look fine. You know, people, I think there's a certain image people think about when they think of diabetes is, you know, a big person who, you know, eats a lot of junk food and all that stuff. And it's one of those things that my mom has always been, because I don't know my family history. I was adopted and all that stuff. So I don't know my family history, but it's something that my adopted mom always told me. Yo, you eating a lot of rice, you eating a lot of candy, you eating a lot of this. And being young, you don't really think, even now, I still, I can enjoy my life a little bit. But it's definitely one of those things where you just never know until it happens. And it's important for people to go to doctor. Now, I'm a hypocrite because I haven't been to doctor in a while. But it really comes down to, like you said, healthy habits and developing those things. And even for you saying that you had a balance before, yeah, you might have indulged a little bit, you know, too much, if you will, but you still had that balance, right? So I want to ask you a really big topic point that's going on in society, right?
Nothing's off the table. Go ahead.
Let's do it. You know, there's been a rise of body acceptance, body positivity, right? And, you know, in one hand, I support it because I do think our society, you know, at least when I was a kid, you know, the Victoria's Secret models was the ideal body figure. Tall, at least for women, tall, skinny, not very big, you know, could fit a dress size 1 or 2, whatever the dress size for women is, the smallest one. Woof. But now we're seeing, you know, a little more diversity. You know, we got Lizzo around, you know, we seeing a lot of women.
I'm sorry. It's funny you bring her up because I do a podcast with my wife too. And our first episode was about a picture I saw of Lizzo and I went in hard.
That's going to my point. Now, I'm not one to, actually, funny enough, Rampage actually said this. He did an interview a couple days ago. He said, hey, because Rampage for a while, when he was fighting, he was light heavyweight. But then he went to heavyweight and he ballooned. He got out of shape. He's admitting that. And he said one of the things that got him back to losing weight and getting back in shape was people fat shaming him, bullying him online. And he said something along the lines of, bring that back, right? Because I know in elementary school, high school, middle school, people used to get bullied all the time. Now, there's different levels of it. But he was saying that, look, I needed people to tell me, yo, you're getting out of shape. You're fat. You know, you need to lose weight. You know, especially him being in his 40s, you know, carrying that weight around is not the same as for me. Who's still in my 20s. So with that being said, I don't like fat shaming people. I would never, you know, fat shame or body shame people. But do you think that there's a line that's being being crossed with this whole body positivity movement where you can eat whatever you want, be as big as you want, and people need to celebrate it and show you respect no matter what?
I love you so much. This is exciting. just let it be known, this is not the first or last. This is not the last time I'm going to be on your show. Well,
That's what I'm here for.
They may cancel me. Who knows?
Right.
Okay, so I'm not going to delve into what we were yapping about on the podcast. I did, but I will do a very, very general outline of it. We need to stop applauding people for being unhealthy. It's just kind of what it is. Like we need to stop acting like, oh, girl, you're so strong for like, no, the only thing that's strong on you is your ankles because they gotta carry your fat ass. Like that's the strong thing about you. Like there isn't anything you should not be celebrated. You should not be congratulated that you're whatever age you are and you're pushing 3 bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like unless you are a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, or you have a ridiculously bad health situation, okay, I get it. But I think that as a society, we don't have a gray area, right? We're either like, you guys are terrible or you guys are great. We don't have like, hey, look, I get it. You know, you're doing your thing. You appreciate who you are, but don't like, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but there was a picture of Lizzo in this bodysuit, and she had her side underarm titties hanging out. It was mortifying. And I'm just like, know your audience, man. Like you can't dress like that. And she didn't say anything about it, but there was people in the comments. I saw it was like a Facebook post. And people were like, people are so mean. People are, doing this, and it wasn't necessarily people. I mean, there was absolutely people being mean. But generally speaking, the ladies were very like, you shouldn't say that about her. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. And it's like, you're part of the problem. You can't like advocate like, hey, look, you're 3 bills. I don't know what she weighs. I don't care. But you can't also wear a wash rag and be like, I'm beautiful. No, you're not. You look uber sloppy and you don't look healthy. I don't like you're like, yay, diabetes. Like what are you doing? So it's hard because you don't want to come across as a terrible person and say, you can't be this, you can't be that. I don't care what you do. Your life means nothing to my kind of situation. But when we see society in a whole congratulating people that are unhealthy, that look unhealthy, they might not be unhealthy, but you look unhealthy. Like you fit that bill. It seems like I get it. You want to have a good positive image on them. You want to support them, but you're not necessarily helping them by advocating, yes, stay in your lane, do exactly what you're doing. You could still be beautiful and lose some weight. Like,
right.
I don't know. It teaches the kids bad stuff too. And I know I'm not trying to sound like that, soapbox dad, but it's like kids are obsessed with social media and the internet and all that stuff, and they see that and they see the comments instead of being critiqued, which, look, I'm 37, man. I grew up a little bit old school, so it's like bullying was much different. It's like, hey, fatty, do you really need those other chicken nuggets? And you're like, nah, you're probably right. Yeah, fair enough. I think it was taken differently. I think now we're a very soft kind of society. I hate to say it that way because I'm not like political, because I'm not. But it just seems like we've kind of lost our edge, and no one can say anything to anybody without somebody having a coronary or, being triggered and offended. It's like, okay, you got it.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's definitely something I've been very vocal and critical on, because for me, it's nice to see that the industry, especially being an entertainment industry, there used to be a very big stigma on men had to look a certain way, women had to look a certain way. So to see that mold being broken down is great. But there's also the flip side, right? A lot of, and I see it a lot, especially with Instagram. I don't really go on TikTok, but especially on Instagram with these fitness influencers. You either got the influencers that do outrageously stupid stuff in the gym for views,
right,
and then you have the other people who are, trying to bestow, beautiful all sizes. And yes, everybody's beautiful, but at the same time, beauty doesn't mean healthy. And it's to the point where now doctors are being told that they're fat shaming their patients, which, I'm a little old school too.
Good God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you something.
Golly.
Being an actor, right? My life, my career is in front of a camera, right? So I'm used to seeing myself, and I will know, and I will feel it, but I will especially know when I'm doing a self-tape or I'm shooting a project. Okay, the gut's hanging a little bit, the double chin is, I need to clean up the diet, I need to, get back in shape. I have friends, I have family who say, hey, man, you got that love handles going on, you getting out of shape, looking a little sloppy. My little sister actually outright a couple months ago said, hey, you getting fat. You know what? It's something that I need sometimes because, you get comfortable in life, you enjoy yourself a little too much. I need that, all right, you know what? Let me get myself back in shape, I think there needs to be a balance, right? You don't need to come out telling everybody, hey, fat ass, and get off the couch, right? But at the same time, and there's no dig at Lizzo, but she's like the poster child of this, right? There needs to be a reality that when you're carrying that much weight, as someone who's 315 pounds, I was 21 when I was 21, I was 315 pounds, 6'3", and I have asthma. I was having a hard time walking up steps. I was breathing hard. It's a reality. And yeah, I had some muscle and I had good shape. But I was out of shape. I was fat. My cardio was all over the place. I'm not saying that's Lizzo, but what I'm saying is when you're that big, when you're carrying a lot of weight, just know that there are health risks to it. And I think it's weird that, I was having this conversation with in Pennsylvania when I went to a doctor to get asthma treatment. We was talking about it, and I know she had mentioned that, we was talking about just health and stuff in general, and she was like, yeah, we got to be careful what we say to patients because, apparently one of the nurses at that hospital got, HR called on them because, they said something that was unpleasant to a patient. But realistically, why pay or why go to a doctor if you're not going to listen to your advice, that's the stuff that blows me. How are we telling doctors now that telling patients that they need to lose weight is offensive? That's crazy to me.
As a diabetic, this actually frustrates me immensely because I don't know how much you watch the news and how much you know about this stuff, but do you know what Ozempic is?
Ozempic?
Ozempic.
I've watched the commercials. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It's been a while, but I've seen them.
Okay, so it is a once-a-week insulin injection for diabetics, and it helps lose weight. It helps control. I mean, it's mostly there to maintain your insulin levels and blood sugar levels and keep you kind of level. It also will make you lose some weight. Here's what was happening, and this is going to come across. Hey, how vulgar can I be? Real quick.
Just do whatever you want.
No. Keep be 100. Because I can definitely censor myself. That's not a problem.
Just don't get too crazy. But
all right, cool. So I'll just keep it real. I won't even go there. Here's basically the situation. These doctors were giving fat people Ozempic to lose weight. They're not diabetic. They're given Ozempic to people that don't have diabetes to lose weight to the point, and here's where it infuriates me, to the point where I actually can't get it because they don't have it because they are out and they've been out. So I had to go ahead and do something different that they actually don't allow. It's called Mounjaro. They don't allow that to be prescribed to people just with weight problems. You need to have diabetes. So knowing that and then hearing what you're saying, where people are getting in trouble because your doctor is saying, hey, I don't know, you're 23, you're 350, and you're 5'2". I don't think I really need to tell you how you resemble more of an exercise ball than, an exercise ball, but you kind of got an issue. And the fact that you can get in trouble that as a medical professional, someone that's there to be a pseudo dietitian that is your PCP that sees your, not your insides, but your blood work, your quote unquote stats. They can't tell you, hey, fatty, stop it. You're going to die. And you get in trouble? Okay. Cool. America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. This is something that I've seen. I see it as a new trend, and it seems to me like it's more of a trendy thing to be celebrating and stuff. And a comedian, Ari Spears, he made a good point. And
Ari Spears name drop, pick it up. Yeah, let's go.
He's pretty vocal, and Piers Morgan too. I remember Piers Morgan did a segment. I don't get political and all that stuff, but I remember I watched a segment on this very topic he did, and he was talking about another model who made a career of being very obese, and he was saying, look, everybody's cheering this person on. Hey, you look beautiful, you look great. And this person I'm talking about, this was a very large person. I think she was 5'3", 330, a big person.
Wow,
this not, and he was saying, look, you're telling this girl, hey, F the haters and, live your life. You're beautiful. But what happens when her health starts declining? She has children at home. Who's going to watch her child? Are you going to pay for her child care? Are you going to pay for her medical expenses? No. So, realistically, the people, and I remember Michael Jai White said this, and I fully agree with him. He was saying that, when he got into Hollywood, he didn't get yes men. He wanted his parents, he wanted his friends to tell him, yo, you're doing this wrong. Get back on track, right? And I think that's essentially what is happening. We need more people like that in our corner. How do you say you're my best friend and you let me live a destructive lifestyle? That's like me saying, looking at just hypothetically, if I saw you doing hardcore drugs and I said, hey man, you still good looking dude, man, do what you want. You got a kid, you got a wife at home. I'm just gonna let you rot and do whatever you want just because I want you to be empowering, be an alpha male. I think it's doing our society a disservice to say, hey, you can be as much out of shape and unhealthy as you want because you're still beautiful. If that's the society people want to live in, hey, cool, kudos to them.
I'm going to tell you why it happens.
Why do you think it happens?
Because it's a mob mentality. You think about, you start coming out saying, you can't be looking that way. You were going to be so engulfed with all the hatred from what you said about your critique that you then, whether you be famous or not, you end up essentially getting canceled from whatever you're doing, and you were then ostracized. So I think at some point there has been such a dynamic flip that I don't think it ever is going to go back. I think now it's just everyone gets a trophy, everyone's beautiful, it's okay. Yeah, do you need I saw something about some girl needing 2 seats on an airplane.
Oh, I saw that. Oh,
how is that not a wake-up call? How is that cool? You're double you have to pay for 2 seats. How is that a thing?
Man, I've been in that position before. My first flight ever, I was stuck in the middle seat because I haven't been on an airplane before, so I didn't know the rules of etiquette. I just bought the cheapest ticket I can get, and I sat next to a person who, quite frankly, deserved 2 seats. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but that's another thing that's happening too with the airlines. A lot of airlines are starting to charge bigger people for 2 seats, right? And it causes a huge debate whether people deserve 2 seats or airlines need to make the seats bigger, right? But realistically, again, I think people are doing a disservice when they are saying, oh, everybody has to, work their way around this person, right? we hear this all the time. A lot of these high-end fashion designers make clothes for specific women, right? Or men, whatever the case may be. So it may not be a variety of sizes. Okay, maybe they can add a little more diversity to it, right? But their aim is not to make clothes for, the person who doesn't fit the. It's hard to say without trying to be offensive, but what I'm saying is,
say what you want to say, man. Like that's the problem. Don't say exactly what you mean, because
that's one of the things, being in the entertainment industry, having
fair enough.
Be a little,
that makes sense.
Now,
okay.
Don't get me wrong. I still talking about this stuff, and I'm still open. I just got to be a little more careful how I say, unfortunately. But essentially, what I'm saying is, look, we need to stop this whole everybody's beautiful every side, because it's not true. Now, like I said, it is nice to see diversity happening, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, our society is heaviest. It is mind blowing how much people spend on fast food, all this stuff, and like you said, diabetes is one of those things that it'll creep up on you. You may not realize it. You could be 10, you could be 45, you could be 25. It doesn't matter. It will creep up on you if you don't eat healthy.
Because I have no idea when I actually got it. Like, that's the kicker. I found out 4 years ago. Who knows how long I had it?
Right. And most people don't even go to the doctor that often. I know I don't. So I'm not criticizing nobody here. But one of the things you said, and it's true, healthy eating is a big thing, right? And I think one of the issues, and this is something that I can understand why some people, feel the way they do. Healthy eating is not cheap. Whole Foods, I don't go to. I'll be the first to admit I don't go there. I'm not spending $10 on 12 eggs. I just can't do that. But healthy eating is tough, right? And I've recently just came to the conclusion, look, I'll find ways to eat healthy while not having to break the bank. And I do Amazon groceries. I get my groceries delivered, and I'm able to find more quality, because where I'm living at now, Upper East Side, don't even get me started on the prices on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you're up there like that. I mean, for a 4-person household here, we probably spend about probably around $1,200 a month.
I'll probably spend it on my own.
Right, but yeah, that's PA to New York. It's like,
trust me, I tell my girlfriend all the time, because she's from PA. Look, y'all might see this expensive, but like, have you been to the Knoebels?
No.
It's a place. Knoebels it's near Wilkes-Barre.
I don't.
Not too far from there.
Yeah, I don't really traverse out that way too much. But yeah, God.
But yeah,
what is it?
It's like an amusement park. It's something. I'm not from PA. It's something I just go. It's a pretty nifty spot, right? But I remember I got a double cheeseburger from there. It was the weekend. I enjoyed myself. I got a double cheeseburger from there and fries. It's $12, right? Here in the city, that is alone is like $25. And some people don't even give you French fries. Like, Five Guys don't even get me started. It's like a rent payment now. Five Guys is a rent payment. And it's one of those things.
Golly.
That's the thing, for at least for me, being in New York, it kind of, with the rising costs and all that stuff, is honestly, in some cases, depending on your diet, vegetarian, whatever, it might be cheaper to buy groceries, which is why I prefer to eat at home. But I also realize when I eat at home, I control what I eat. I can control, what I put in my body. And it's definitely something, as a young person, I advocate every young person, look, we might think we're invincible now, but 10, 20 years from now, we won't be the young sprouted chickens we are. And
I tell the kids
even
that
you're still young too. You're still pretty young too. And it's one of those things where we think, okay, I can go out, drink beer every day. I can eat Domino's and eat cheesecake, which is guilty pleasure of mine, I'll admit. But even for me, I had to start scaling back, because for me, I noticed I gained weight when I started doing that. I gain weight a lot easier. So that's my indication. Now, someone who doesn't gain weight as quickly might just think, oh, I can eat cheesecake 4 days a week, and that's fine. That's a lot of sugar. It's a lot of sugar. And I've realized, watching nutrition, reading the nutrition labels, man, there's a lot of sugar everywhere. A lot of sugar. And people don't realize that. Even the pack of ramen has sugar.
Well, it's not even just that. It's the carbs. The carbs is the thing that you need to actually pay attention to, because that's the thing. That's what will. Yeah, I mean, the sugar, yeah, that'll disperse itself pretty quickly, but the carbs is the thing that takes a lot more to break down, and it's empty. It's essentially empty calories, but that is what kills you. So when you ask like the different things we had to do, you know, I'm a big spaghetti guy, but we had to go to grain noodles, which don't taste great. A lot of just white flour stuff. You can't do that. Like, if you just, next time you're eating, like anyone that's listening to this, just for the next day or two, everything that you put in your body, look at the carbs and look at the sugar. Just do it and write it down and just kind of take a look at what that actually looks like and how much that really equates to on your daily value. Not good, man.
Oh, no, you're 100% right, man. It's so bad now. Well, I wouldn't say it's bad. I think for my career, I have to be a little more careful compared to the average person about, you know,
right.
Especially my age range. Most of my buddies, they, you know, eating whatever every day and just carrying on. You know, I have to just watch what I eat because I know my body, and I know that, you know, a couple weeks of not, you know, taking care of the diet, I will be looking like Mr. Clump. But you know, that's just, you know, I'm just being honest.
But a lot of people don't know that though. The fact that you're such a young bull and you're like, I am aware of what my body does. Like, I feel like that's the biggest problem. So many people don't know that. They just either they don't know it or they don't care to know it. The fact that you're like, nope, I know what happens if I eat like garbage for 2 weeks. I'm more tired. I'm sluggish. You know, I got a solid A cup going. Like, we can't have that. And the fact that you're able to, like, nah, man, not today, Satan, and you're able to handle it, I think the problem is the people that end up ballooning, they don't have that come to Jesus moment. So good on you for having the cognizance of doing that, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people, you know, I think being in the acting world makes you self-aware, which is why I always say this. I'll always come off older to people just because I'm more self-aware than I am, you know, than people would typically think. But it's one of those things, I think people need to be self-aware. That's how so many people dig themselves in trouble, you know, whether it's dieting or whether it's just relationships or whatever. A lot of people don't know who they are as a person, and they just going about life. And I get it. You know, if I wasn't in this industry, I'd probably be acting like a goof like I always do. But I think many people really need to learn. And one of the reasons why I learned about it, when I was in high school, right? When I was sophomore year, senior high school, I was 5'11", 185 pounds.
But you were balling though at that point, right?
Oh yeah,
if I remember. Okay, yeah.
I was pretty good in shape. I went to college. I went in the weight room. I started eating, you know, because I had to worry about my mom being down my neck. I gained over from freshman year college to beginning of sophomore year. I probably put on 100 pounds. All right, and that was because I'll tell you the biggest reason, and I missed this days. But back then, this was 2015, freshman year. McDonald's. I used to go to school upstate New York.
It always starts with McDonald's.
Oh yeah. So I'm telling it's because it's cheaper, right? So up there, McDonald's used to do a thing called Big Mac Mondays for $1, right? Now you get a Big Mac for $1. You get it. I think you can get as many as you want, right? It was a promotion. So every Monday, me and my buddy, 10 o'clock, I worked out, maybe I worked. 10 o'clock, he'll pick me up. Let's go to McDonald's. I get 5, 6 Big Macs, pound them down. Every Monday, right? Okay. And that's just Monday. And then they used to also have the McPick 2 for $2. So you get 2 items for $2. Right. So twice a week, outside of the Big Macs, we would go there. I would get maybe 3 orders of the 2 for $2s. So that's 6 double McDoubles, large fries. And sometimes I'll throw on a milkshake. Why not? You know, a little healthy. And
yeah, of course.
And
like hearing this is making my heart hurt. But go ahead.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm actually, maybe it's because I was young and I was I was still active. I wasn't just playing video games,
Right.
but I ballooned a lot of weight. And I remember when I came home for that summer, my mom was like, "Yo, what happened? Like, you got fat." Even her co-workers like, "Yo, what happened to him? Like, he used to be this skinny twig." And that motivated me. All right, let me watch what I eat. Let me take care of myself. Because yeah, like I said, when you're young, you're not thinking about it. But when you have people who care about you, because they do care about me, when they say, "Hey, man, what's going on? Your arms a little flabby, you got the double chin, you looking about 35." I remember when I was 20, people used to think I was 35, and I was married and had kids.
Oh man,
because I was just a big dude. I was out of
Right.
shape, and it's definitely something that I became self-aware of. All right, I need to be a little more careful now. Like I said, I still enjoy myself. I have toaster strudels in the freezer, which I will be eating later. I still enjoy myself.
Hold on. What flavor?
I got the cream cheese and strawberry, I think it is.
And I'll accept it.
I haven't had toaster strudel since I was like middle school. It's been a while, so
Yeah, it's been like 10 years, but I remember like Fire Squad. Let's go. Oh, man. And
yeah, I only had it like once or twice.
I used to make some fat kid decisions when I was little. I would get them and I'd be excited and I couldn't handle myself and I would just go and get the icing and I would eat all the icing and then be sad that there was no icing left for the strudels. That's my fat kid moment there.
Oh my god, yeah. The icing is good though. I'll give you that. It is good. It's it's definitely something like I said. It's moderation because from January to April, I'm telling you, I used to buy these. It was like $13 on Amazon. These big giant bags of Reese's cups. I used to buy 2 of them. I go through it in a month. I go through a whole.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
I was eating like 15 Reese's cups a day, and I didn't realize it. But eventually, I'm looking at because I started doing fitness videos. I'm like, yo, I'm jiggling a little too much on this. Handles.
Got the jiggle physics going.
Yeah, okay. It's not looking good. I'm the most charismatic man. I can't be going out like that. So, I had to make a change in late April, early May. I said, you know what? I've been telling myself I need to get back on track. I need to stop playing with myself because I used to say, oh, I'll buy this bag and I'll moderate myself, but here comes the weekend.
Never happens.
Never happens. So,
never.
Like you said, it's moderation. I'm actually surprised I don't have diabetes because
I was thinking it, man, because I'm like, okay, he don't have it, but I do. All right, that's fair enough, I guess.
But also, I gain weight probably a lot quicker than you too. So
yeah, that's my metabolism is a little funky. I don't really like. I tend to not really gain, but if I actually put my mind to it, I'll just shave everything off. Like I'm just like, oh, okay.
I'm jealous of you people. I have a buddy. I don't really talk to him as much anymore, but high school, this guy's always. He's even skinnier than you. He's what, like 6 foot, maybe 6'1" at this point. $160. This dude is like straight bone. And this dude, I remember he used to pile on McDonald's, cheeseburger, everything. I'm like, how are you still skinny? Like I can't do that. I can't get away with that. But
it comes back to you though, man. That's what I tell the kids that because I see the kid eating a lot of rice, a lot of Sammys. I'm like, look, kiddo, do you have fun, enjoy your life, but please understand, be cognizant of what you're putting into your body because you're invincible now. Whatever. I promise you, trust and believe it is going to come back. Yeah. It doesn't have to be weight. It could be clogged arteries. My grandma was what, like 5 foot, probably a buck, probably 100. Quadruple bypass surgery.
Wow.
That doesn't make sense. Quadruple bypass are for bigger, heavier setted people. 100 pounds, 5 foot, ain't nothing to her. Quadruple bypass, yeah. Probably ate really terrible, obviously grandparents, so, different eating habits and things like that. Just if anyone takes anything from this podcast, let it be this. Take care of yourself. Go to the doctors. Fellas, get off your high horse. Stop being afraid. Go to the doctor. You feel it. You feel a little something. Even if you don't feel nothing, just go there once a year. Because the fear that you have about going to the doctor or the laziness you feel, whatever it is, it's going to be a hell of a lot worse when they give you a diagnosis. So
that's true. I think you throwing a little shade at me because you said since I ain't go to the doctor,
look, Pepe, you do what you do, but hey,
no, you're right. You're 100% right, and we're seeing that too, where a lot of celebrities who made a career of being fat, Jonah
Chris
Hill,
Farley,
Rebel Wilson.
that was
a lot of the alive ones, at least, recipes.
I mean, you think about the funny fat guys, like John Candy, Chris Farley, they're all dead.
Yeah, no, a lot of them
coincidence.
And it all happened when they were still relatively young, late 30s,
Right.
early 40s. But now we're seeing the shift, like I said, Jonah Hill, despite the recent little controversy going through, Rebel Wilson, a bunch of other, even Chris Pratt is another one. We're seeing a shift now where a lot of those heavier actors, even celebrities just in general, are making a change. They used to rely on that
John Goodman.
fatness everybody.
He looks creepy now. I'm not gonna lie. He looks real creepy.
He does.
He needs to be a little. He needs to kind of find a middle ground because I'm like, ugh. Like, you sick, man? Like, what's up?
Yeah, he probably, maybe he has a little body dysmorphia. I know that sometimes that happens when
he went a little hard in the paint. Just saying. But yeah, go ahead.
We're seeing that shift now where a lot of people are making that change, and I think that's a good thing. Do you think that despite the rise of the body positivity movement and all that stuff, that people are seeing that, hey, I need to make better choices. I need to, be healthy, because in the long run, yeah, I'm the butt of a joke in this movie, and I'm making people laugh. But when I'm off set and the movie's done, I gotta live with this frame. I gotta live with this reality that, what comes with it. Do you think that's people are starting to see? Okay, maybe we need to change direction a little bit in this. No.
I mean, it's one of those. As long as that voice is loudest, it's okay. Here's the problem. A lot of people that are that big, ironically enough, they're sad because they're big, and what do?
Yeah,
eat. So it's a self-sustaining cyclical thing, and then you got your rah cheerleaders. There ain't no one stopping you except you, and a lot of these people just get so deep in the rabbit hole that we'll see you at your funeral in 10 years, man.
It's unfortunate, man. Yeah, you're right. It's unfortunate that people let it get this far, and it's a combination of, people need to take accountability, but also your circle. I say this all the time. You are the company. Look at John Morant. He's young NBA star.
Listen, golly.
You are. Your company. The people you keep. A lot of people say I can hang out with all types of people, and it doesn't matter. I tend to disagree with that, because
it depends on you, but a lot of it, like, you get those loud voices, peer pressure. I don't care how old you are, peer pressure is the thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people need to realize that you need to. It really, for me, if anybody takes away from it, you have to hold yourself accountable. And I think one of the issues with society is just not holding anybody accountable. Everybody's a victim. Everybody can, he did this to me, or
Facts.
he said this to me,
Facts.
or I say this all the time. I look at criticism in a great way. If someone says, hey, the podcast a little boring, can you add a little spice? Okay, I'm not going to be like, I'm a, disregard that. I take criticism with respect, and as long as you're coming with a place of respect, right? It's a difference when telling someone, hey, fat ass, get up and go work it. That's not, I don't think that's going to motivate most people.
Man, that's just being a dick.
Yeah, some people, I think that's the approach that needs to go. Not everybody can operate like that. Even for me, even being a New Yorker, active type of person, I don't need you coming at me like that. But if you say, hey, just in the instance of acting, hey, my manager will do this. Hey, Percy, okay, I like the choices you made, but I think you could make stronger choices here. It's not working in this part of the scene. Maybe you should try this way, right? That's constructive criticism, right?
Yes.
People need that, right? So if we want society to change, we have to have conversations like this where we're not antagonizing people. And I think that's the reason why so many people who are talking about this are viewed as mean, because they're not coming from a place of constructive criticism. They're saying, hey, get your fat ass off the couch, put down a donut, and go work out. Okay, that may not be as harsh,
Right.
but at the same time, that's not helping anybody. I've never heard of anybody get up being talked down like that and say, hey, I want to make change. You know, it has to come from a place. All right, look, people, I know everybody wants to feel beautiful, but the reality of the situation is we all know this is not how biology works. You can't walk around carrying that much weight without any repercussions. We got to get this under control, right? And it's, you know, I blame social media too, because social media has ruined fitness. The fitness industry is complete garbage now. Like I said, you go on Instagram, you either see the dude. I just watched this the other day. I watched a dude, don't get me wrong, he was in great shape, but this dude was hanging from a pull-up bar with a bench, a bench press bench on his neck. He was, he had a whole neck, he had a chain on tied around another bench that had a medicine ball at the bottom. I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, this is not fitness. And then you see another video of someone shoving down cake in the gym, because they want to show that you can. It's just absolutely stupid. Do you think social media has ruined it too?
Social media has ruined everything ever. Yeah, I think the worst part about it is I think it's the internet in general. Like, you are given a level of anonymous. Oh my.
Anonymous. Yeah,
yeah, anonymous thingy. Yeah, words and things. I have a podcast, guys. I'm super good at talking.
Follow me on Instagram.
yeah. So everyone's given that level of that, and you are then allowed to say whatever you want. Oh, well, I'll get blocked. All right, I have 98 other email addresses. Hold my beer. Let me go make another one and start yapping. And that doesn't help either. But yeah, the people that are trying to get clicks, watch me do this crazy stuff. Okay. All right. But how does that make you healthier? Oh, it doesn't? Right. Okay. But then you get the kids that are influential because they're called influencers, which is a whole nother conversation for another day.
Yeah.
You got them trying that, and then oh, what happened to Johnny? Oh, he's crippled now because he saw something on TikTok and he wanted to do what his favorite influencer did. Okay. But then you got the people that end up killing themselves because they had the people that were, instead of being constructively criticizing them and trying to help them, they're like, if you're going to keep getting bigger, you should just kill yourself before the disease does. It's like, who says that to somebody with like any other ambitions or direction of being a terrible person? So
right.
The other part of it, I think a lot of times where the sensitive stuff comes into play with us is sometimes people don't say that malicious stuff, but you take it as, hey, you're kind of getting a little round around the waist, and in your head you're like, you're fat, you should kill yourself. That's not what was said. But I think sometimes that's kind of what people are dealing with. So that's kind of why I think it's never going to change. It's only going to keep getting worse, or at least be normalized.
Right. So. Yeah, it's like I said, follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I was having this conversation, at the part when I was recording a new fitness video, and part of, for me, one of the reasons why I started doing it, because I love the act, I love the podcast, but I also wanted to do something that. I know fitness is a big thing, right? And I follow, throughout my journey, when I first started losing my 100 pounds that I gained, I used to watch channels, Athlete Next, a couple other ones, Get Lean TV, where it was very informational. They give you ideas. All right, they cut straight to the point. You want to lose weight, you don't do bicep curls. You go out there, you move that body, you burn those calories, get the sweat going, right? That was motivational. That was, roughly 10 years. Well, it wasn't that long ago, but 10 years. Let's give it take. Now, I'm seeing videos where people say, "Oh, you can eat whatever you want. All you got to do is just make sure you work out." No, you can't.
No, just
I,
no.
Man, I watched a YouTuber literally talk. I'll never forget this dude. Tyrone, I think his name was. This dude used to show his eating, throughout the day. He would go to McDonald's at 6 a.m, get 2 McGriddles, 3 hash browns and a coffee. Go work
McGriddles
out.
are fire, by the way.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started. I can eat that every Saturday. But like his diet was atrocious, right? And his fitness advice was awful. And he was a nice person, but the advice he was given was atrocious. And I think that's the issue. Social media has given so many people a voice, and not necessarily everybody deserves that voice. I'm not saying we need to shut people up, but not everybody deserves a platform to tell millions or convince millions of people, hey, you can eat McDonald's, you can eat, Domino's every day and still lose weight. You just can't. And then when you have,
you need to be able to police it.
Yeah. And it really comes down to
hard, because how is that going to be a policeable thing? Like, because then you're like, well, you're taking away my whatever amendment. It's like, no, man, you can't say you wake up and do meth and eat McDonald's and then, eat a dog leg and then, oh, this is how I'm 140 pounds. It's like, no, you can't. But you can also absolutely go out and say that, and no one can stop that. So that's you're right. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's balanced. I think we need more. It really, like I said, the fitness industry needs to change, because these are the people that, people go on Instagram and TikTok for ideas. Sometimes you don't have the money to afford a personal trainer. Maybe you don't have the money to go to the gym, because some gym, like my area, I went in LA, my gym was $15 a month. Here, I'm looking at the minimum $80 in this area. So
wait, 80 a month?
Yeah, a month.
Jesus.
And that's on the low end. Yeah, and in my area, it's disgusting. And so that's why I elect to just go work it outside, because I'm like, I could.
You know what? Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. I bought the wife this thing. You ever hear of Fight Camp?
Yes.
I bought the wife that because she used to do kickboxing and stuff. It was
nice.
It was like $1,500. You get the gloves, you get the heavy bag, you get the sensors. Not a sponsor, but it's worth, because you can even do the payments. It doesn't have to be 15 up front. You can do monthly payments of it. So I don't know if especially for someone like you that had their time is limited. Well, that sounded really dark. You know what I meant. He's slowly dying, guys. Donate to his Patreon too.
He's trying to kill me all.
Yeah. Well, I got to get your viewers, so one way to do it. But for someone that has time limited stuff and you don't want to drop 80 a month, because the payments for Fight Camp is way lower than that, and it comes with an app, it comes with a subscription and things you can do on it. Hey, it's an option. Just from a cardio, even you can call it self-defense, but I don't know, something to kind of look at for yourself and whoever else is listening.
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons why I've been back in New York for 2 months now, and it's one of those things. I want to leave New York because here, first of all, the apartments, that sounds like a great idea. The problem is the apartments in New York are not big at all unless you're willing to spend $10,000. So it's like, for me to get that,
I would need a lot of space,
have to
man.
throw some stuff. Yeah, and
you don't need a lot of space. I trust and believe you do not need a lot of space. Now I get it. You're like 7'13", so you got a lot of extremities and what have you. I get it, but you need a lot less space than you think you do.
Well, I mean, the way how apartments in New York are designed, it's like, if I could show you the size of this apartment, you'd be like, ain't no way. I could fit in, that. But yeah, New York is bad, and I miss LA. I lived in a 3-bedroom apartment, way cheaper than this apartment, and the amount of space I had was endless, and that's what I miss. That's why I kind of want to leave, because it's the space is limited, everything's expensive. But for me, I was mentioning, I go work at a park because I get to meet a lot of people, and it's different. Fair. I've always been in the gym, so I'm learning new stuff being outside, and I think that's for me. That's why I love doing fitness videos, because I'm showing people a different type of workouts. You go on Instagram, most of the workouts are in the gym, and it's usually kind of same repetitive bench press, deadlift, the all cable workout stuff. I'm doing more dynamic stuff. So if you watch like my reels, I'm doing squat jacks. I'm doing a lot of jump rope. I'm doing a lot of aerobic cardio based movements, high intensity stuff, because I want people to realize you can, like I tell people, you can burn more calories in 30 minutes if you do high intensity workouts than go to the gym and do bicep curls. Now, if you want big arms and stuff, fine. But if you want to lose weight, you probably just want overall fitness better. You want to do stuff like that to get the blood moving, get your heart jumping. And I think that's as important. We need more people who can advocate real life benefits. I watched a personal trainer on Instagram who was training Kim Kardashian for weight loss or fat loss or whatever. Don't get me wrong, she's a great content creator. But I'm like, how is any of this workouts fat loss? Like standing on a medicine ball doing bicep curls? I mean, you're just doing this for views. I mean, it's ridiculous. And these are the people, not her specifically. She's actually great. I love this woman. That video was like awful. But I've seen other content creators who make a name for themselves or built a following because they do outrageously stupid stuff.
Right.
But it's because they look the way they do. People are like, oh, okay, I believe them. And I tell people, this is what they put on Instagram. You don't know what their real life workout's like. They might do this after the workout, acting stupid. But before they're doing their workouts, they have their sets, they have their workouts right now. They're doing what they need, But I digress. I think people really, filter out. It's like politics and all that stuff. You have to filter out the nonsense. Go through, look for what's best for you. And I think hold yourself accountable, because a lot of times people are looking for content creators who can tell them what they want to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Need that validation.
It's like asking for advice, and they're only listen to the advice that you feel is going to side with you. It doesn't, we can talk about this all day. We can, but like a milkshake, I'm done drinking it. I'm throwing it out. Actually, I'm not done. I love milkshakes, but Rich, this has been a really good conversation. I know you got a lot of stuff going on today. But like you said, great human being, amazing story. I always tell people it's different because you already have a podcast. But I tell people, you never know who's listening and what other people's going through. I've had many people come on this podcast who, before we started recording, nobody's gonna really care. Nobody really wants to hear my story. I'm like, just wait and see. We'll have fun. And sure enough, people like, hey, my family or my friends or someone listened to it, and hey, man, I loved your story. It was very impactful. I didn't realize it. And it's something you said before. Looks, right? People usually judge people based off their looks, right? And you never know what people are suffering, because you can't see someone's heart from the inside. You can't see someone's autonomy from the outside. And a lot of people are struggling. I have asthma. A lot of people don't know that. And it's one of those things. Yeah, I have great hair. TMZ's always following me. I'm a good-looking guy, but I have my struggles too. And people are always surprised, but at the same time, it's also motivating for them, because they say, hey, I didn't know that. How do you deal with that? Because I'm going through that too. And, your story is something that
I got a ton of stories, man. We didn't even touch the surface. I got so many. I should realistically be a broken man. I will leave that with you. If you want to do a part 2 at some point, I have my story's messed up. So
I would love to. You know what? It's funny talking about the body of positivity stuff. I haven't really touched on controversial topics in a while, mostly because I know it's interview styles. I like them, and I like more conversation like this, because sometimes it get a little too crazy. Some people get their feelings hurt. I don't want to have to deal with that. So, but it's one of those things I would love to have a part 2 on that, because I'm right now, I'm at that point where I want to make stories, happen. I want people to hear other people's life journeys and experience, because it's easy to judge people. Like I said, people always think of me like a tool job. I'm full of myself, which is all true, but there's more to me than that. And I think we need more stories like you.
We can definitely communicate, and I can kind of go over a few kind of talking points and let you know kind of, hey, this is generally what's been going. Like, this is what's happened, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to actually do, because it's kind of all over the place. So yeah, we can definitely do that off, and via G or email or whatever. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we'll set something up. Yeah, like I said, Hollywood calling me. Everybody want a piece of me. So you know what I'm saying. It's rough being me. But where can people find your podcast? Where can people check out the X's and O's of life, your fantasy draft stuff? Where can people find you?
So I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I don't really do the Instagram thing too much, but I have Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Let me see. I mostly do the Twitter stuff. Let me pull this up here because I don't even remember like the handle stuff. To be honest, hold on.
I can understand that. It took me a while too myself. So, yeah. So we're just waiting for him to come back. He's looking at a couple of stuff, and let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Do you like these type of style episodes where you get to learn about someone's backstory and all this stuff? I want to, I mentioned this before. I want to make this podcast a lot more enjoyable. I want to have,
I
more
couldn't figure out how to get
stuff.
back to you.
Oh, yeah, at the start, I'm like, oh my god, Tom Cruise.
No, because like so I'm not usually the guest, so I usually just have to go hit the Safari thing and it pulls it back up. Let's just do it this way. It's gonna be easier. I'm just gonna send you the links because there is a lot of HTTPs and numbers and and I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna do all that because I wasn't cool enough to get all the really streamlined names. So, but if you look up X's and O's of Life podcast on Apple, it's definitely there. You look on there on Spotify, iHeart. I'm always kind of pushing it and promoting it. Yeah, we have the Patreon, whatever. There's free content on there, or not free content, but there's more content on there. But yeah, me myself, you're one of 5 recordings I'm doing today.
Yeah, I know, busy man. I thought Hollywood. I thought I was busy in Hollywood. You're more busy than me today.
I mean, look, get on my level, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm slacking, man. I was telling this to Samuel Jackson. It's
okay.
It's hard being me sometimes. I wake up some days. I see TMZ right across the street, right there, getting the camera ready. I just want to be a normal boy, man. But I gotta get like you, man. I need to be busy like that.
Yeah, I drink a lot. It's fine. Okay.
You drink a lot?
No, I don't. But sounds good.
I drink a lot too, man. Let me tell you. You know what this is? Straight water. That's right.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water. Yeah, I got people.
Look,
thought I was
tip for the viewers: get your water game because that's a good thing to be putting in your body.
Yes, and you can put other stuff. No, I'm not gonna go there. No, let me stop. No, but Rich, like I said, I won't keep you because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna have you back on. We're gonna talk about a lot more stuff coming. Yeah. I'll link everything in the description so if you want to check out his
because I'm not prepared. I apologize.
Yeah, he's not. But you believe he comes on the most charismatic man's podcast and is not prepared. Boo this man.
Please. Yep. But I always thought it was easy. Like I don't think whenever I kind of say it at the end of my podcast, I'm just like, oh man, no one's listening to that. So I just say like, here, it's in the links, man. If you want to click it, cool. If you don't, cool.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just, it's just.
I appreciate it.
With my charisma, the boyish good looks, the amazing hair that nobody can replicate. People tend to probably listen to the end, but probably not. I don't disagree with you. I probably, unless I'm driving, which I will be doing in a couple weeks. I will be doing a 10-hour drive to Myrtle Beach, so I'll probably listen to a couple podcasts that long, but. Yeah, other than that, it's been fun, Rich. Like I said,
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
I got Tom Cruise on hold. I can't believe that. But he's rich. I'm poor. Great episode. You like that, right?
That was nice.
But yeah, we're out of here. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, leave comments. Like I said, go check out the podcast on IMDb. Check out Rich podcast, XO, Spotify, Apple. Wherever you get your podcast, links will be in the description. And like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.